Hey everybody, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Florence, Oregon. My name is Sally Wantz and I'll be your service leader today. And we have a plethora of people in our audience today. Everybody applaud, yay! No, that was not canned applause, that was live. I'm going to invite two of you to come forward. He's going to lead us in Spirit of Life. It's number 123 in the hymnal if you need to follow along. Anybody who wants to come up socially distanced, please do. If not, stay in place. Let's sing Spirit of Life, shall we?
Shall we?
That sounds like a good way to
Good
start.
way to start.
I think we can, I'll come over here.
Okay.
Everybody, please come join
As
us.
best you can.
And you can always pan the room, right?
I can.
And please join us at home, wherever
Yeah.
you are. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the steam, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Bruise hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me. Come to me. Come to me. Come to me.
Welcome. Thank you, Julia. Thank you. Don't hurt the furniture. All right, your guitar. So, thank you. That's a great way to start our service. We do that, with the exception of last week, almost every week. So, count on it. A couple of announcements. Our Sunday Zoom happy hour begins at 5 p.m. today with our own Sally Wantz. Oh, that's me, as your host, so you'll want to be there, right? We have some fun. We hope Dr. Ruth Miller will be with us, and because, gosh darn it, we miss her when she's not around.
Thank you.
So your complete Zoom invitation is in the e-blast. We encourage those of you who have never Zoomed before to give it a try. It's really not that scary. It's a lot of fun. Reverend Elizabeth will host her third tea time on December 16th at 2 p.m. Join our minister for discussion of almost any topic. She's younger than most of us, so she's heard it before, and she's fine with it, so we can talk about anything we want to. The ever-popular Winter Solstice event, hosted by Rosemary Alden. I think Sister Sue, you're going to be there too?
Not this year.
Not this year, okay. Well, it will be December 19th at 11 a.m. at St. Andrew's Labyrinth. It's at 19th and Tamarack. We'll see you there. There still may be room to enroll in NIN's evocation for Planetary Harmony on December 22nd. Details in the e-blast. Don't wait. Space is limited, and it's filling up fast. Also, Rosemary Alden will be teaching two classes at LCC starting in January. One is her ever-popular Nonviolent Communication class, and the other is More Health is in Your Hands from the Teachings of Jin Shin Jitsu. Look for information in the e-blast on that. Rosemary would love your participation. So, if anybody has a special announcement you'd like us to share on these recordings, send it to us at florence.unitarian@gmail.com, and we'll gladly share it on your behalf. Next Sunday the 20th, we welcome Reverend Elizabeth with a message titled, The Hurricanes Center. Ooh, sounds exciting. Are there any announcements from anybody here today? Any other announcements? Yes, Ray.
Want to mention this building sold?
So for those of you who have been following what's going on our property here, the landlord, or the owner of this property, has sold the property to a corporation. They tell us they're not going to make any changes. We'll probably stay here for another 2 years or more. And but it's kind of exciting. We have a new landlord starting January 1st, or as of yesterday. So yeah. And speaking of that, there's a group of us staying after the service today, the taping, and we're going to talk about our internal space. Maybe we'll do some painting and rearranging, some artwork. So Catherine's going to stay. I think we've got Deb and Karen Hernandez will join us. So keep abreast of that. We'll keep you informed on what happens there, okay? So the chalice lighting. I invite you at home to light your own candle as Brooke lights our flame in the UU chalice. The following comes from the International Council of Unitarian Universalists. This is a global chalice lighting for December, and it's sent to all the congregations throughout the world. These words are offered by someone whose name I cannot pronounce, but he's with the Prague Unitarian Congregation, part of the Society of Czech Unitarians. Whew. Okay, ready? This is the global chalice lighting for December. For millennia, the fire has been in the center of human communities. Our ancestors used it to gather around. Today, we are assembling around this flame and the flame at your home to renew our community. May the flame of our chalice make this community warmer and stronger. Blessed be. So I invite Brooke to come up to help Catherine with our joys and concerns.
Good morning, everyone. I forgot my notes, so I'm just going to wing it here. And everyone can add to it if they have something to say, or they know a joy and concern they'd like to add to this. We do this to strengthen our connection, especially now that, yes, there's a few of us here in the room, but mostly you're seeing me out there in Zoom land. And to strengthen that connection, we need to feel all the heartfulness we can for each other. Because if one is feeling heartful and uplifted, everyone else is too,
Yes.
because we are all one.
Yes.
So I have a couple things. A joy for me is Ann Lathrop. I think she wanted to be anonymous, but I'm blowing at Ann and just telling everyone.
She's going to be mad. Oh.
She contributed these kindness posters, and she's distributing them through Deborah Larson. So if you want to contact Deborah, there are several signs left, there's bumper stickers, and thank you, Ann, very much. And Deborah drove all the way to Roseburg to get them. So, a concern is Janet Vincent still. Just to keep her in your heart and mind, because she's going through a rough patch like we all have at different times. And again, if we're uplifted, we uplift her with us. And Raymo, would you like to come up and speak?
She's walking pretty good.
Look at you.
Look at me. I have shoes that match.
Oh. And they go with your top.
And they go with my top. Okay. Hi, I'm Rayma, and I have a joy. I have started dialysis for my kidney failure about 2 months ago, and it's been a very, very rough 2 months. But my joy is that last Friday and Monday and Wednesday, I have had 3 great dialysis days in a row. And I'm looking forward to today. I go right after the service here to dialysis every Monday, Wednesday, Friday afternoon for 4.5 hours.
Wow.
And it's a lot of time, it's a big commitment, but it's keeping me alive. So, and I have some transplant offers in the mix, and we're going to check those out, my brother being one of them, and we'll see if that's the road I want to go down. So you can know that for me, that my transplant is on its way.
Yes.
And I'm just doing so much better with the dialysis. So,
Wow.
thank you. And I have energy like I haven't had in years.
Right.
Yes.
Congratulations. And it shows.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So a final show for everything or anyone that was left unsaid or unaccounted for. We hold you in our hearts and minds, deeply, lovingly, completely. You are with us, even though we may not even know you. You may be of the larger community. We may not even know you, but if you're listening to this, you are one with us. And so it is. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Amen.
Hey, Brooke.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Brooke.
I have a reading for us today,
Okay.
and it's in our hymnal, and it's called Our Whole System, and it's by Maria Mitchell. Small as is our whole system compared with the infinitude of creation, brief as is our life compared with the cycles of time, we are so tethered to all the beautiful dependencies of law that not only the sparrow's fall is felt to the uttermost bound, but the vibrations set in motion by the words that we utter reach through all space, and the tremor is felt through all time. Blessed be.
Lovely.
That speaks to that interconnectedness, doesn't it? Like you were sharing about joys and concerns. What's going on for you is going on for us. So let us be with one another with kindness and compassion and love. So it is my honor to introduce the Reverend Dr. Ruth Miller. But before she comes and talks to us, she's asked that we play a beautiful piece, O Come, Emmanuel. It is a Christian hymn for Advent and Christmas. And it's a perfect prelude to her service today with her thoughts on the light in the darkness.
O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile near.
candle today. And with that, if you light the rest of the candles. Excellent.
Very much, Ruth.
This is especially meaningful for me because it'll be the 25th anniversary of my mother's passing tomorrow, the 12th of December. And she was one of 4 sisters that survived the Holocaust. And in the diaspora, they all managed to flee Vienna and Austria when the Nazis occupied. And so it has become more meaningful for me to be a part of this, I call it a cultural resource, to have a Hanukkah in Florence. It's a small group that meets monthly in honor of the Jewish religion and to celebrate ritual and break bread together, Mahala. And it came into my life when I was in my 40s, actually, by accident when I was hired at a synagogue to work for a rabbi and was raised not to talk about my Jewish background because my mother had lost her parents in the Holocaust, and so the anti-Semitism was still prevalent in Europe, where I grew up in England. And so here I got to inherit my heritage, in a sense. I got to know it better by being able to work. This was more than a work, this was a joy. And so I'm very grateful to have been able to realize that part of my heritage. And so now I'm a Jewish you are, I consider myself. And it's a blessing to be here in Florence with all my wonderful friends and family. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ruth. Ruth Baumrucker. That was so sweet to be reminded of how hard it is to be Jewish in our culture. And these candles, the Hanukkah candles, it's Friday when we're taping this, but it'll be Sunday when people see this, which is the 4th day of Hanukkah. And Hanukkah is one of the many, many ways that people around the world honor the light at this time of year. And I'll tell a little more about that story in a moment. But we have this other way, which is a derivative, I actually believe, of the Hanukkah tradition. These are the Advent calendar candles. Most of us know Advent calendars because they have chocolate in them. And today is Sunday is the 3rd Sunday in Advent. And the first Sunday was for hope. The second Sunday was faith. And the third Sunday, which is often called Mary's Sunday, is for love. So we have hope, faith, and love. And on the 4th Sunday, the Sunday right before Christmas, it will be peace. And then on Christmas Eve, there will be the lighting of what is called the Christ candle. So, the hope, I'll shift over now. Thank you. So good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Hope, faith, and love. I think that's what we're all living with right now. It is the core of our experience right now. We are learning to experience and express love in whole new ways. Those of us who learned how to hug people in our 20s and 30s are having a hard time now because we got used to it and we like it. A lot of us weren't hugging when we were growing up, and it was this joyful way to connect and feel that love. So we're having to realize that we can express and experience love in other ways. Some of them verbal, some of them other non-verbals. I know sometimes when we do this, we actually feel it. Yeah, lots of good ways. So that today is the 3rd Sunday at Advent, and it is It was originally a 40-day preparation for the coming of the Christ, and now it is just 4 Sundays. The first one, hope. We hope that maybe something wonderful can happen in this darkness that we are experiencing. We hope without any really strong basis for the hoping. Hope is something that comes from maybe a little bit of experience, maybe a little bit of what someone has told us, but it mostly comes from within. There is the hope that maybe something wonderful can happen. And then we start having evidence, little bits of evidence, little bits. In the Christian tradition, they're mostly readings from the Old Testament at this point, or stories about this guy called John the Baptist, who was born 6 months before Jesus in the same lineage to Mary's cousin, Elizabeth. And Elizabeth's birthing was a miracle in itself. She was well past menopause when she was told she was going to get pregnant. And her husband, who was in his 80s, didn't believe it. And when he declared he didn't believe it, he was silenced until after the baby was born, Zechariah. Oh my goodness. So there's a whole set of stories just around that. And in the Christian tradition, people talking about John the Baptist, John who was out in the wilderness, the voice in the wilderness, wearing his camel hair suit and eating locusts. And that was how he survived. And he was shouting, make way, prepare ye the way for the Lord. And those of you who know God's spell know that song very well. Prepare ye, that one. Yes. Prepare ye the way. And this is what Advent is about. Adventus, or advenitus, or ad, whatever version of venia you want to use, means toward, coming toward. Something is coming. There is a way. There is something unfolding here. We're experiencing something marvelous about to happen. And so by the second Sunday in Advent, there's the beginning of faith. There's the beginning of a deeper knowing. Yes, it's not just a hope of a glimmer. There is a knowing. Yes, something marvelous is happening. Now, on December 22nd, Nin is going to be celebrating the astrological parts of that in some wonderful ways. Many of you know that for years I've been saying the culture that we grew up in is dissolving around us and a whole new culture is being born. And many of you remember the Fifth Dimension song, the coming of the age of Aquarius. This is the dawn of the age of Aquarius. And those harmonics, remembering the harmonic celebrations that started in '87, they're all preparing us for December 21st, 2020, when these two amazing planets join in the heavens and form what the media is now calling a Christmas star, which I think is very interesting. Jupiter and Saturn are coming together. Go to Nin's thing and learn what all of that means. But it's the first time in 800 years that the Northern Hemisphere has seen this, and it's part of the unfolding of the leaving behind of what we're no longer living, and the emerging of what we are choosing to this. Something wonderful is happening. So we have more and more faith. The election helped to restore some people's faith. They've been living in fear and hope. And as the Democratic agenda began to become acceptable to more and more people, or visible to more and more people, something happened in their minds. 19% of the voters are still convinced and have the faith that the current president will remain president. And so they're in that same stage of faith, and it's kind of interesting to watch how the country is dealing with this. We have people who are in faith that something wonderful is about to happen. And as always is the case, that something wonderful is not something that's happening outside. The outside is only the visible representation, the visible expression or manifestation of what is really happening. It's happening in us. All Right, which brings us to the third candle, and brings us actually to why Hanukkah is so important in my household and in my family. I was not raised in any faith tradition, but half my family is Catholic and the other half is Jewish. And there's a little bit of Unitarianism in the middle where I am. So we have this experience of getting together for Chanukah and going home and lighting our Advent candles. And it's totally real and right for me, because the story of Hanukkah is the story of these people who felt totally overwhelmed by a culture that was totally not accepting who and what they are. All right? When the Greeks took over what we know as Israel, they imposed the Hellenistic standards on the Israelis, on the Jewish people. And the Jewish people said, no, we are not going to live our lives that way. It is contrary to everything Torah says. It is contrary to our laws. We will not. And a group called the Maccabees, a family, a clan, said, we're going to try to protect the temple. And they got to the temple, and they were able to protect the temple from the Greeks for a period of time. And when they arrived, the story says there was the standard menorah that is present in every Jewish temple, and it was an oil lamp, it wasn't candles, and there was enough oil for one night. But the second night, and the third night, and the fourth night, up to 8 nights, that lamp continued to burn. And that was the faith, the sign of their faith. They had the hope when they took the temple back. And then they had the faith to be able to continue because of that light that remained burning miraculously. And when we start to experience manifestation, demonstration, a manifestation of that which we have held inside us, when we start to experience out there, there's something that happens inside us. It's like this upwelling of gratitude that becomes an expression of love. This incredible appreciation that is, oh, I love you, thank you so much, right? And so the third Sunday in Advent for me is like the fulfillment of Hanukkah. It's kind of weird that way. But it is, because it's bringing us to that place of, a fulfillment is happening here. I get to be in that place of deep appreciation and gratitude because that which I had hoped for, that which I had built faith in is coming to pass in my experience. So in the Catholic tradition particularly, and to some extent in the Episcopal Anglican tradition, the third Sunday is Mary's Sunday because she lived in hope, moved into faith, and then became the fulfillment of the love in the Christian tradition. And she is the embodiment and the only, well, not the only, but the main holdover of the tradition that was in place long before any Greek culture, any Jewish culture even. And that's where the mother was the source of all fulfillment. That was the norm prior to the beginning of this father culture that the Jewish experience laid out so beautifully in their text. So the Mary candle, the love candle, is bringing us back further and further in time, even as it brings us forward into the moment of experiencing and expressing more fully the love that we fundamentally are, if we can allow it. And that's really all it is allowing it. Because our training has been, oh no, it's not okay. It's not okay to hug people when we were growing up. It's not okay to say I love you to people. They'll misunderstand. And I've had that one, right? They'll misunderstand what you mean. It's not okay to do nice things for people because they'll get the wrong signal. Our culture has trained us not to be loving. And yet, it's who and what we are. How can we ever experience fulfillment if we can't be who and what we really are? So part of what's happening, part of what the shift is that we have had this vague hope and more faith in, is a culture of loving. A culture where expressing and experiencing who and what we really are, who and what everything in the universe really is our norm. So now we're in the darkest time of the year. Perhaps the darkest time in the history of the planet. For a whole lot of reasons, the virus being the single one. But it's simply an indicator of what was a problem all the way through the global culture before. That which is inside becomes evident outside. That which is outside is always showing us what's inside. In the darkness, we have hope. In the darkness, as we allow ourselves to be open to the evidence that is around us, and not just the fearful talk that is often the loudest around us. As we open that, we become beings of faith. We begin to live our lives from faith. And as we live our lives from faith and see more and more of the evidence of it, then we begin to be in the love. And when we can be the love, when we can be in the love, this amazing thing happens. Something wakes up. Something that was hidden inside us. Something that was so deep we did not even know it was there. Begins to become part of our lives. Now this something is a very strange something, and it's so strange there are no words for it. Every language tries to describe it, but no language has exactly the word for it. The symbol for it is the Son of the Son, the Prince of Peace, Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a Hebrew word. It means God with us. God with us. What wakes up inside us as we begin to live that love that we are and know the truth, when we begin to have that experience, this thing that wakes up inside us is the full awareness of the presence of God in and each every one of us. Whatever we call God, whether it's the creative process or goddess or, any number of names that we have, all of which can't quite name what that is. But we become aware that it is there. It is alive inside us. And it has the potential for being our guide, for being the presence of power, for being the way we choose to live forever, for being our own eternal life. I've been working on a lot of books lately. This has been the year of books. And one of them is a sequel to a book I wrote several years ago with a man named Milt Markowitz. He's the founder of the Jewish Renewal Center in Portland. And we had written a book we called Language of Life, and it was based on a matrix of the Hebrew letters that shows how much power different letters have. And one of the things that we found is the word Bereshit, which is translated as in the beginning, but is more like from the all that is into possibility, if you will, all right? But the letters that make that in Hebrew are some of the most powerful numbers in the Hebrew language. So each letter is a number, They're either at the single digits, the double digits, or the triple digits, and Berad sheet has a bunch of triple digit numbers, letters. The word Eretz, which refers to earth, this place we live, is another one. The word Shalom is another one, with these wonderful triple digit letters. So this new book we're putting together, we're calling To Restore Earth's Balance. And we're saying, guess what? It's not just Hebrew that does this. Almost every indigenous language on the planet where they have a strong shamanic tradition does this. That they have words that have just the letters, the qualities, the sounds, the pieces of them have power. And while he was playing with this, as we were on the third draft of the book, Milt said, I think we found something here. And he had written out in the Hebrew letters the sounds of the word that in Greek is Christ or Christos. And they are 4 triple-digit Hebrew letters. It is the most powerful combination we have ever found of those letters. And in one point in the book, we listed these words and said what they represent in our culture. And that one is a most profound awareness that has been terribly misunderstood. So much attachment to that term, Christ, so many battles fought over it, and it has nothing to do, all of that attachment and all of those battles have nothing to do with the essence of what that word might be. It is what is born within us. I've been known to say that our heart is like a wormhole accessing the infinite. When we're in that loving space, when that essence of who we are is who we are, we have access to all power, all light, all love, all possibility, always. That's what is waking up in the dark. And that is why we shine lights, we light candles, we light up the night. In the darkest time of years, humanity has done this always and everywhere. At the darkest time, gathered together with light and love and whatever they can share. What a wonderful opportunity we have this year to carry this so far beyond any other experience humanity has ever had. To begin to be that which we were born to be. Blessed be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. And thank you, Ruth Bumrocker, for lighting the menorah for us. We really appreciate it. And hearing your history was very moving. Thank you. Thank you again, Ruth. So, well, are we going to extinguish these when we extinguish the chalice, or do we leave them going until we're no longer recording? Isn't that lovely? So we get to stay and enjoy it after we're finished recording. I hope you'll be with us on our Zoom call at 5 o'clock today, if you can. All right, Sunday, 5 o'clock. Remember, I'm your host. So it's like, you gotta be there.
I get
Okay.
it, yeah.
Okay.
If I'm anywhere near internet, I will be there.
Okay, fine. So we're going to move on to our offertory, which is a time every week when we give what we can to our particular fellowship and to our community partner, which happens to be Florence Habitat for Humanity. Yeah, this congregation has been so very generous to all of our community partners over the last decade or so, and this is no different. So the purpose of a church is to encourage all who gather to grow more generous in spirit and in action, and to bring the human being closer to the divine by acts of creation and compassion. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. So the beauty of this being virtual is you can make your contributions anytime you want to, 24/7. Put it in the mail, address it to FOOF, P.O. Box 2502, Florence 97439, or click on our website, the donate button, and you can do that very conveniently through the website. You can designate how much you would like to come to FOOF and how much you would like to come to our community partner, and we'll take care of the distribution. So as we move forward with our offertory, I invite those here and you at home as well to repeat after me. Divine love through me,
Divine love through me,
blesses and multiplies all that I am,
blesses and multiplies all that I am,
all that I give,
all that I give,
all that I receive.
and all that I receive.
I am prosperous now, blessed be.
I am prosperous now, blessed be.
Please know your contributions are received in grateful appreciation. I invite you at home to extinguish the flame of your candle as Brooke comes forward to extinguish the flame in ours. Thank you, Brooke. These words come from Brian Keeley. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of us. Carry that light with you as you leave this place or your home and continue your journey. Share the light with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you meet along the way. Blessed be. We're going to close our service today with the peace song, and I'm going to invite everybody to come on up. We're going to sing this a cappella. Ruth Miller gets the honors of being at the podium with the microphone so she can really sing it out for us. So come forward, whoever can, and let's sing our peace song, shall we? Are you ready?
Virtual hand holding.
Virtual hand
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with love as our center, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternal.